All right. So, how is it going, everybody? All right. Who do we got in here so far? Isaiah, Luna, Skylar, Slice and Dice. Hey, glad I helped ya. How's it going, guys? You doing all right? Everything coming through okay? Leave a little message in the comments or in the chat. Let me know that you can see me. Please let me know if it's buffering because YouTube's being a little finicky tonight. It looks like it says excellent now, though, so I think we're good. Daily dose of memes. Don't know your name, so hello. It's good to see you. Amaris, I see you there. Christian, that's who you are. See, now I know you. Perfect. Glad everyone is here. We are on. We've been up for about a minute or so, so give everyone time to get in here. Angelica, welcome. Slice and Dice, perfect. Let's see, what'd you say back there, Isaiah? AP World is easy. Easy, huh? Well, that just means you're awesome. What can I say? All right, Ruby's in here. Who else we got? You can see me perfectly. Thank you, Christian. I appreciate that. Whew, so how's your night going, guys? You having a good one? It's okay. Oh, goodness gracious. So, we are getting ready. Bro Gamer 631, my day is awesome. You know, it's been a long week. It's been a long, month, really, because we're halfway through the month already. Past halfway. Goodness, it's the 20th. And, guys, you know what? Maybe it's because I'm looking forward to it. I don't know if you knew this. I think I told my students, but just in case you didn't, my birthday's coming up this Sunday. So I would like to end this week on a positive note. And you know what would be very positive for me? You guys doing awesome on the test. So that's why we are here tonight. We are setting up so that we can do awesome things together. So we can do awesome on the test so you can be prepared. Oh, look what I got here. So, Isaiah, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Oh, goodness gracious. It's weird. I know there's a delay between what I said. If you were not... I can't wait for Thanksgiving either. Yes, the Kahoot's going to help you a lot, too. If you wrote down the code or you got it from Mr. Santiago, make sure you go and do the Kahoot as well. Those questions are getting you in the right mindset so you know the information that these questions on this test right here, I'm moving it really fast so you can't read it, so you know what this test is going to be asking you, okay? Rogue Gamers, thank you very much. FrastXZ, thank you very much. Angel, welcome, buddy. Glad to see you here. Woo! What a good day. You guys excited? This is awesome. Got 16 of you in right now. This is incredible. Now, here's the trick, though. We got to make the most of our time. Now, we're studying for the test. Everyone's getting in here. It's been a few minutes. It's 8:03, looks like, on my computer here. So, we're going to get started in just a minute. Now, if you weren't here last time, I need you to know. Skylar, thank you very much. If you weren't here last time, I need you to know that there's a delay, okay? From what I say to what comes on the screen to what you type to what comes back to me, okay? So, with that being said, think about questions that you are struggling with. Hopefully, it's 8 o'clock now. You've been studying for a while, right? Oh, Christian just switched accounts. Okay, perfect. More accounts better, right? Oh, we're down to 15 people who someone dropped off. It's all good. All right. Give it another minute or so before I get started. We're about 4 minutes into the stream. Get some people to get some, notifications, hopefully. Get a few more people in watching. And like I was saying, there's a delay, okay? So be mindful of that. Ask your question. I'm watching the chat. It's right here. There's a 7-second delay. Okay, so tell you what, I'm going to clap my hands and I'm going to see. What I want you to do is, when you see me clap my hands, comment something, say clap or something like that. And what I'll do is I'll see how long it takes from my clock to yours. So you ready? In 3, 2, 1. All right, so according to my clock, that was at 4 minutes and 40 seconds. Still haven't seen anything on my screen yet. So you probably haven't seen it yet. It's like I'm looking into the future. Okay, just saw the clock. So it's 25 seconds from when I clapped to when I saw it on my monitor. Let's see. Yes, I use OBS Studio. It works amazing on my new computer. All right, so it looks like we're about 30, 35, 40 seconds, give or take. So it's not much of a delay, but just so you guys are aware, because you guys are new. If you were here last time, you understand we went through this, but I'm just repeating that. Oh, lots of claps, yes. It's like a call to action in the classroom. Waterfall goes, I'm joking. But so be aware of that delay, okay? So with that, we're 5 minutes in. Hopefully everyone's in that's watching. Let's get started on our review for the legislative branch test. Now, if you think about it, the legislative branch was old, right? Now, I'm going to talk and talk and talk and talk, but I will stop what I'm doing when you ask me a question, okay? What kind of question are you asking me? Slice and dice, just tell me what you need help with, okay? You went through the review today, so talk to me about what you're struggling with, what you just don't get, or what I can explain further for you, because that's what I'm here for. I want to talk to you guys about what you guys don't feel confident in. And if you're not confident, bring it to me now. This is your chance to talk to me one-on-one or 1-on-15, however many people are in here, and just tell me what you need help with, okay? If I'm explaining something and it's not quite clicking while I'm saying it, let me know in the chat, and then I'll stop and I'll try and re-explain it for you, okay? All right. Can we answer questions to other people in the comments? Of course. If you know the answer, jump right in. Like Angel asking, who is the leader of the Senate, and Angelica jumping in with the vice president. So then I'll ask you this. If the vice president's busy, off in a foreign country being a diplomat, who's running the Senate when he's away? Let's see if you guys can do that. How many questions? There's going to be 22 for the 3 standards that we focused on. What is the filibuster? Okay? Filibuster. Don't leave the live stream, but open up a YouTube video on Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. It's one of the greatest scenes in Hollywood that depicts a filibuster. It's this guy that just wants to end the bill, and I think that's the best way to answer your question. The purpose of a filibuster is to kill a bill. President pro tempore. We're actually going... Actually, in the next unit, on the executive branch, we're going to watch a song by Mr. Haber where he talks about the president pro tempore and line of succession. You'll like this one. It's a funny dance. Message rejected. Because you repeated yourself, I guess. Everything about history, U.S. to be exact, before Civil War. I don't know what that was in reference to, but it's all good. What we got here, Jess? It looks like daytime where you're at. That's because I am in my home studio, which has tons of lighting around me. I have a big light in front of me, 2 lights to the side, a light behind me, my overhead light to cast more of a natural light, not just a white. So it's bright in here. My wife says it looks like it's like Times Square when she, like, if you look in through the outside window. Now filibuster. Let me get back to that before I forget. Filibuster is to kill a bill. Okay. The idea is they talk and 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 talk, kind of like what I'm doing right now. And the idea is that they're going to just end it, okay? Because the sponsor pulls the bill before they vote, okay? What happens if the chamber ignores the bill? Can they ignore the bill? Yes, they can ignore the bill. If one chamber, and we'll start with the House of Representatives, if they pass a bill, it gets sent to the Senate, right? Which we'll talk in more detail later, the process, but it will be sent over there. If they never vote on it, nothing happens because the Constitution says it has to pass both chambers before it can be sent to the president to be signed into law. So if one chamber passes it, but the other chamber never votes, it dies. That's it. Kind of like, even if they take a look at it, when you say ignore, it could go both ways. You can ignore it by not taking it to the floor, but still look at it in committee. And if it dies in committee, it dies in committee, just like when we saw Schoolhouse Rock. You get so old, you die in committee. That's what that's about. Let's see if I missed anything. All right. So, does that make sense? Does that answer your question? What happens when you veto? A veto just means to cancel. Okay? The legislative branch, that we learned about in Article 1, wants to pass legislation, wants to pass laws, right? Sorry, poor Bill. I'm just thinking of the Schoolhouse Rock guy. They pass legislation. If the president disagrees with it, think about Montesquieu. What do we talk about today? Checks and balances, right? Checks and balance. That's the executive keeping check on the legislative. The president can veto a bill if he doesn't agree with it. Because go back when we had the Articles of Confederation. The Articles of Confederation only had the legislative branch, so they could pass whatever they wanted, assuming they could, right? Now, if the president performs his check to keep Congress from passing that bill, but it's done out of spite and the bill is actually good for the country, then Congress can go back, and what you're alluding to, Christian, both chambers would have to vote yes with a 2/3 vote. Now, it's important to note that you have to get that 2/3, right? Because in order to pass the bill, you just need 51, simple majority. But to override a veto, you got to step it up. You got to show that it's actually truly supported by the vast majority. Okay? Again, that's checks and balances on both. Okay? That's how Congress can keep a check on the president. Another way that Congress can check the president, and we'll get more about this in the next unit, but a little preview, is the president appoints federal judges, cabinet positions, stuff like that. The Senate has to confirm those. So if the Senate disagrees, they can keep the president in check. Make sense? So it kind of goes both ways. All right? What else you got? Put those questions in there. Ask away. All right? Let me know what you need. Let's see, what else can we talk about? One thing I noticed today while you guys are typing in, hey, Zadiel, didn't see you there, buddy. Hola. Still learning about Africa, or you moved on by now? You're in AP world, I think you said. It's probably moving pretty fast. You're probably well past Africa. One thing I noticed while we were reviewing in class today is, Nadeshka, I see that question. What is a constituent? A constituent is basically the voting member of a district. Okay, remember we talked about, West Side is part of Darren Soto's district, the 9th Florida. If you are over the age of 18, you're allowed to vote, right? We talked about that in the amendments. That makes you a constituent. He represents all of us, right? All of us, but constituents are the voting members, because basically Darren Soto doesn't have a job if he doesn't get elected, right? So if he wants to be reelected, he has to keep his constituents happy. He has to do what's good for his district. That's what he's fighting for. That's what he wants the support of the constituents. Okay? Constituent is the voting person being represented in a district. Difference between the 4th and the 6th? They both deal with rights of the accused, but 4th deals with property, whereas 6th deals with person. I guess that would be the biggest difference. Think about the 4th Amendment, search and seizure. Police need a warrant to search to find evidence. 6th is speedy trial, right? Right to an attorney. So dealing with you versus your stuff. 4th, 6th. Okay? Alrighty, you're learning about absolutism. That is absolutely awesome. Alright, so a lot of people are asking what constituent means. Does everyone see that? Constituent is the person that is represented who can vote. All right, Trey, I'm going to get to your question in 1 second, because that's where I was leading towards a minute ago before the questions started coming in. But Angelica, I want to answer yours first. What if one chamber agrees but the other one disagrees? Then it goes to the president. It can't. Say, for example, the House passes a bill that the national food will be cheesecake. And it goes to the Senate and they say, no, the national food will be Reese's peanut butter cups. Not the same, okay? So if the Senate makes changes, it then has to go back to the House to get finalized. And then if they agree, okay, we're good with Reese's peanut butter cups, then it can go to the president. But it can't be different. In order for it to go to the president to be signed, it has to be agreed upon by both. It has to be identical. They have to come to an agreement between the two, okay? Let's see. Trey, how can you tell the difference between the House and the Senate? Representation. And like this, what I was getting to earlier, is the fact that a lot of people seem to struggle with the difference. Like, you get it mixed up, like the requirements and stuff like that. Think back to the Great Compromise, the Connecticut plan, where it said one house, we're going to be bicameral, meaning 2 houses. One house will be based on population. One house will be equal representation. The Senate, each state gets 2. The House of Representatives, each state is apportioned based on how many people live there. Wyoming has 590,000 people living there. They get 1 representative. California has almost 34 million people. They get, 55 now, I think. I forget the number now offhand, but you get the idea. The more people that live there, the more people you have representing you in Congress. Florida right now has 27 because we're fairly populous, okay? So that is how you tell the differences, based on how many people represent them, okay? Remember the requirements. For the House of Representatives, 25 years old, resident of the state you live, citizen for 7 years. Okay. Senate, you just got to step it up a little bit. So you have to be a little bit older, 5 years older, 30 years old. You have to be a resident of the state that you represent, and you have to be a resident for 9 years. So the requirements are a little bit higher. Okay. Let me see. Let me check the chat for a second. Let's see where you guys are at. Who makes the rules for how the House and Senate do their jobs? They do. I mean, it's all based on the Constitution. Let's see who I said. That was Luna, right? It's all based on the Constitution, but really the person that is in charge can change the rules, and they can pass rules for future sessions and so on. The Speaker of the House dictates how the House runs, right? President pro tempore and the Vice President dictate how the Senate runs. So they can make the rules as they go, as long as they are aligned with the Constitution. Make sense? Okay. For the House is the Speaker. For the Senate is the Vice President or President pro tempore. That is right. Speaker of the House. Not Speaker of the Senate. That's not a thing, right? Speaker of the House would be the House of Representatives, right? The Vice President is over the Senate, but remember, the Vice President can only vote if there's a tie. So if it's 50-50, Vice President breaks the tie. Okay? Let's see. How many votes does the House need to make a bill? If everybody is voting, 218. Simple math. 51%, or just more than one vote more than 50%, right? Now, if less people vote, if only 400 people vote, then you only need 201, okay? What is the purpose of congressional committees? I love it. It seems like you actually wrote down what you're needing help with, and that is why you're here tonight. I love it. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you guys giving up some time on a Wednesday night to talk to me, to get some help so you guys can do awesome on the test. And if you're watching this on replay, you're just trying to learn more about the legislative branch, and I love that too. All right, so what's the purpose of congressional committees? I mean, the Senate has 100 people in it. So I can use that as an example, but let's talk about the House. 435 people. If every idea that was proposed went straight to those 435 people, do you think things would get done? Probably not. Imagine just trying to get everyone in our classroom to agree on something, or to make all the changes necessary to fine-tune a bill. Imagine taking that to the cafeteria at lunch. Imagine trying to get those 400 kids that you have in that cafeteria. It's not even 400. It's probably only 250 or 300, right? Imagine trying to get those people quiet to listen to you so you could debate and make changes. Do you think that would work? Tell you what, if you think that you could get everyone in that cafeteria to agree to something, we will go in there at lunch tomorrow. We'll get Mr. Soto to quiet everyone, and we will ask them a question. If you think that's possible, you come to me tomorrow, and we will try that. But I'm going to give you a spoiler alert. It's not. Do you really think we could get those 250, 300 kids to be quiet so we could debate and make something? Probably not. So the purpose of congressional committees is to get it all worked out before that. So what do? Is you take it to the small group. They work out the bugs. They make it sound good. And if it's a bad bill, it dies. We talked about that, dying in committee, right? But if it's good, they make the tweaks to make it perfect, or as perfect as they can. Then they send it to the floor for debate. Because if it's good enough to get through the committee, it's then worth taking to the floor. So the only thing going to the floor are the ones that have a good chance. That's why they use the committees. And it just makes everything run better, runs more efficient. Make sense? Nadeshka, let me know if I answered that well enough for you, okay? Because it looks like there's a lot of chat going on here I get caught up on, okay? But I see a lot of people answering. Beautiful. All right, block grants, don't stress out too much about that. That was just more of kind of our conversation about, how federalism affects us today. And, cooperative federalism basically means that the federal government will give money to the states so the states could then make improvements on their infrastructure. All the roads that we got, stuff like that, bridges. I don't know if you've ever been down the Kissimmee Chain of Lakes, but there are locks that you can, literally take a canoe all the way down to Lake Okeechobee. Stuff like that. It needs maintenance, and that's what these block grants are for, okay? But don't stress out too much about that. Let's see, where are we? Hannah, what is the process in order to become a law? Let's see what you guys wrote before I get that. Give me 1 second. They debate, they vote, majority says yes, it goes to the other chamber. Christian, looks like you got that part down. Let's see, Angelica. One chamber debates, goes to the standing committee, other chamber good. The other chamber says yes on it, goes to the president to sign, but he can also veto the bill and send it back. I'm going to check my notes, be right back. Let's see, the bill died. Oh, hold on. Skylar, what happens when one chamber agrees but the other doesn't agree to the bill? Now, let me add to what Skylar has. I appreciate... that's a great question. I appreciate you tagging me in that one. Maybe I can type it in there too, see if it's faster. Let's see, let's try that. The other chamber can make changes. Just know that it starts the process over because both chambers have to agree to a bill, like verbatim, like same words. Okay? Devolution, from my keyboard down here. Devolution is the process of giving back power to the states. Boom. How's that? Alright, I have to edit and send it back to you. Man, I am so proud of you guys. It's like you listen to me. Oh, it feels so good. That's an early birthday present, even in and of itself. What else you guys got? Because if you don't have questions, I'm going to move on. But man, you guys are doing such a good job. Let's see. Don't get the Senate and House confused. 100, 435, different requirements for age, 25, 30. Don't get it mixed up, okay? Don't stress out too much about devolution. Again, it's more the big idea that I want you to focus on, okay? Let's see. We talked about that. Let's just roll through this real quick. All right. Well, I'm waiting for you guys to ask me questions. I have a question for you, and you can type your answers in. If you are impeached, are you removed from office? Okay. Luna, the opioid addiction. That was just an example of Congress negotiating and compromising on a bill. Because remember when we played that Lawcraft simulation and we had to work on a compromise to try and get people to support it? The opioid thing was just something different. You're not going to be tested on opioid addiction. That was just an example of a public health bill trying to be passed. Okay? Opioid is like a drug. It is a prescription painkiller that, like morphine, for example, but it's highly addictive, so people become addicted and then seek it out, and it turns into substance abuse. But because it's addictive, people are dying, they're overdosing, so the government is trying to come up with a way to fix that, stem the problem with the manufacturers so that it doesn't happen, okay? If you get impeached, you are still in office. I see that. I appreciate it. No, not until you get evidence to impeach you, take you to trial in the Senate. That's what's important, Angelica. You got it. You have to be convicted to be removed from office. Just because you're impeached doesn't mean you're removed. Now, pop quiz. How many presidents have been impeached in U.S. history? Now, while I'm waiting for you to answer that, I'm going to answer Hannah's question. Who runs the Senate and who runs the House? Speaker of the House. Just remember, Speaker of the House, Hannah. Speaker of the House runs House of Representatives. Everything else, Senate. Okay, if you remember that, you'll be good. The Vice President is technically in charge of the Senate, but because he is also the Vice President, or is the Vice President, can't be there every day. So the day-to-day operations, that's the President pro tempore. That's someone that's of the controlling party that gets to run the Senate while the Vice President is away. Okay? Let's see. Looks like I missed somebody, so let me go back and read real quick. All right, answer Hannah's question. Hannah, let me know if I answered that well enough for you. If not, I'll go back and revisit it. Christian asks, stuck on powers, concurrent powers, reserve powers, so on. Reserve powers are the powers that aren't in the Constitution, or powers that are not given to the federal government, but rather given to the states. We talked about getting a hunting license, right? The federal government doesn't touch that. That's a state law, right? Concurrent powers, stuff that both can do. Taxation is a good example of that. You live in Florida, you pay sales tax, right? That goes to the state. You work a job, you pay your income tax, that goes to the federal government. Both can tax, okay? Both have the power to do that. That's kind of the idea of concurrent powers. All right, Christian, does that answer that for you? Let's see what else we got on the chat here. Senate's Vice President, House of Speaker. Good. You're still in the office if you are impeached. That's right. Only if you get convicted. Let's see. I'm seeing some numbers pop up. Let's see what you got. Christian, let me know if I answered your question, if I explained the powers for you. Okay? Got an answer there. Zadiel. I think I know where you're going at, but not yet. Okay? I think I know what you're going to say, Zadiel. I think I know why you say 4. So let me hold off on that. Let's see. Christian, Hannah, Skylar, you say 2. The correct answer, and Angelica's got it, is 2. I'll explain. Andrew Johnson was impeached in 1868. It was 1868, I think. When the process started, at the beginning of the year. But when he went to the Senate, he was found not guilty. Because guess who was in line? I don't know if I ever told you this story. You know who was in line to become president after Andrew Johnson? Well, remember, he was vice president, so he didn't have a vice president to take over. It was actually going to be the president pro tempore of the Senate. That was who was in line to next. You know who that was? Democrat from Ohio named Benjamin Wade. Benjamin Wade. But he was corrupt and he was just a bad person. Just kind of like an angry little dude. So the old saying, the old rumor, whether it's true or not, I'm not sure, but the old saying goes that Johnson was innocent because Wade was guilty. They didn't want Wade to be president, and they knew Johnson was going to lose the election, so they didn't worry about convicting him. The second president to be impeached was Bill Clinton, and that's a whole long story. It ended up, from one investigation to, catching him in a perjury, where he lied under oath. And they took it there, but they realized, was it a removable offense? So no, the Senate did not convict him. Now, if you say the answer is 4, like Zadiel, you're probably thinking of 1, President Trump, who's currently dealing with the issue, but right now it's only an impeachment inquiry. The House has not voted to impeach yet, so he is out. That doesn't count. And the other person you're probably thinking of is Richard Nixon. But he resigned before the formal vote. They were also going through the impeachment inquiry, and he saw the writing on the wall that he had actually done a removable offense, and he knew he was going to be ousted, so he resigned before the vote took place. Would he have been impeached? Yes. Would he have been convicted? Yeah, I would put money on that, which is why he resigned. Okay? So, yes, Andrew Johnson and Bill Clinton. Okay? Let's see what else we got on here. Let me make sure I got all your questions answered here. The difference between Speaker in the House and the President pro tempore. Really, it's who they're in charge of. The Speaker of the House is in charge of the House of Representatives. Okay? You could argue that they have a lot of power because they're over more people, and because of the House, any bill that has to deal with taxation or revenue starts in the House, so you could argue that. President pro tempore really is just a figurehead. They run the Senate. It's really the majority party leader that runs the Senate more so than the President pro tempore, because really the President pro tempore is the one that's calling the order and breaking a tie. Okay. Let's see, where else are we? Angelica was right there. Representatives that work in the House of Representatives, do the members have to represent the entire state? No. They do not. If you're in the House of Representatives, you are representing your district. We talked about Darren Soto because he's local. He represents us in the 9th Florida, right? Does he represent the whole state? No, he represents the 9th Florida. However, does he keep the best interest of the state or the Southeast in mind? Of course, because that affects us here in the 9th District. So, does he represent us? No, but does he look out for us? Yes. Okay? I'll ask one more question. Let me think of one. Let's see. Where are we at? Does the president have to sign the bill to become a law? Yeah. With a couple exceptions. If he doesn't sign it after 10 days, then it automatically becomes a law because he can't just ignore it. It has to do something. He can veto it. He can sign it. If he ignores it, it becomes a law. If he signs it, but Congress is not in session in those 10 days, then it gets forgotten. Okay? So there's a couple little exceptions, but don't worry about that. Just understand the basics that he has to sign a bill for it to become a law. Okay? Why did the Anti-Federalists want a Bill of Rights? Oh, you're going back in time, back to the last unit. because they were afraid the government would take our rights away. Which, when we get to the judicial branch, you'll see that that's why we have a judicial branch, is to keep the government from taking our rights, from the executive branch, the enforcement branch, from taking away our rights. Which I just kind of learned that, in depth, in the last couple of years. I went to a symposium last year. I'm actually going to it again this year, and it really was enlightening to see, just how much protection the judicial branch provides us. Much more than I originally known. Oh my goodness! Oh, the chat's blowing up right now. Let's see what we got. Man, we've been on for 30 minutes. Oh my goodness. It's 8:30. Time flies when you're having fun. Man, you guys are doing awesome. I love this. This is fun, isn't it? Oh, let's see. You guys should ask questions like this when we're in class. Let's see. You have to sign it or you can veto it. I touched on that. How many years must you be a citizen to work in the Senate? 9. Christian, good job answering that. Let's see. Because they want to ensure that the rights are protected. Good. Why are there only 100 Senate members? Because there's only 50 states. We had a 51st state. Say Puerto Rico wants to become a state. Boom. How many senators do we have? I think everyone can answer that, but let's do some simple math. Why are there only 100 Senate members? What happens if we have 51 states? How many senators will we have? Let's do votes for a state. That's right, scholar. Now, why is it equal representation? Because that's what the small states want. They didn't want to be bullied by the bigger states. Again, Wyoming. How many senators does Wyoming have? I'll add that, and I know there's a delay from my question here. Which article outlines legislative power? What's the first one? Because if you watch my video, or one of my other videos, I talk about how it's familiar. We had a legislative branch under the Articles of Confederation, right? So let's start with what we know. Yes, Christian, we would have 102 if there were 51 states. And just because he's purring and hanging out underneath me, you guys want to meet my cat, Otto? Keep you guys interested since you've been with me for so long. I appreciate that, so I'll show you my cat. In case you were wondering while I was reaching down the pet. Article 1 is correct. I'll raise him up a little bit. There's my little kitty. I have another cat that's out in the living room and a dog as well. And of course you guys know my 6-year-old that you see sometimes. Alright, so what do you guys got? Talk to me. What do you need? 1 senator in Wyoming? What? Christian, try again. Yeah, that's a good kitty. Alright, we'll sit you back down. Alright, there you go. Oh, you shed on me. Oh, you guys can probably see the hair in my HD camera here. Thank you. Alright, no, but Christian, help me out here. 102, there you go, now you got it. Oh, no, I already said 102. How many senators in Wyoming? That's the question you're hung up on. How many senators do we have in Wyoming? They only have 590,000 people living there. How many senators does a state like Wyoming get? Or Rhode Island, or Delaware, or New Jersey, the smaller states, not the Virginias. Yes, 2. You clicked the wrong 2. Okay. Yes, there's 2, because every state gets 2. Good. Let's see. All right. Why is it important for a chairperson, though? Let's talk about that. Okay. Let me ask you this question, then I'll answer your question. Why do people want to be on committees? Why do people want to be in charge of committees? What purpose does it serve? We talked about the efficiency of committees. Hey, we got good questions now. But I need you to help me out with this one. And I will talk about the 2 years in a little bit. What if we don't finish? It's only 22 questions. You got this. Don't worry. You'll finish. Have faith. You know the material. You'll do well. Okay? Otherwise, we'll talk about it. Okay? Ruby, 435. But why? Why do people want to be on committees? There's multiple committees, right? So, if you are, like, for example, Florida, known for oranges, orange groves, orange juice, all that good stuff, right? Or cattle. Cattle's a big industry. Hopefully you learned all this in U.S. history last year. Doesn't it make sense that you'd want to be on an agricultural committee so that you can help? You'll have plenty of time to finish, scholar. Don't stress about that, okay? Trust that you'll be fine, and trust that we'll take care of you. Don't stress over the timeline, okay? Florida's agricultural, cattle, oranges. So wouldn't it make sense to be on a committee that deals with agriculture so that any agricultural bills that come through, you can help benefit the state, right? Now, okay, maybe. I know I said that, so yeah, I'll agree to you. But let's look at a bigger picture, okay, Christian? You want to take care of your own people, so you want to be on that committee. Now, if you get named like the chair of that committee, like Christian is alluding to, you get the respect of your peers, right? And you get that token of respect leads to better opportunities, and if you want to advance your career, so it's really helps you out there. Okay. Let's see. I know I skipped a question. Let me go back. Why do members in the House of Representatives only stay for 2 years? Because that's what the Constitution says. The Constitution didn't want you to be in there for a long term because the Constitution wanted you to go in, do your job, and go back to work. Let someone else come in and do the job. Excuse me. Does that make sense? So they said you'll be elected every 2 years. If you get reelected, that's great because that means you're doing your job. But if you're not doing your job, we can replace you. Okay? It's a good question, Hannah. I'll get to that in 1 second. That's why the Senate is 6-year terms, because they wanted to have time to think and focus and not worry so much about campaigning and about being reelected. They just wanted people to focus on doing their job and focus on what's doing right. House of Representatives, because there's more of them, they said, listen, if you're not doing a good job, we want you to be able to be removed relatively quickly. Senate, they give you time to focus. Okay? Let's see, where were we? What is gerrymandering? Kristen, you got it. Basically, if you look at a map of congressional districts in the state of Florida, take a look at Duval County up near Jacksonville. This is a good example. Literally, the center of Jacksonville is one district. Everything else in Duval County around that circle is a different district. Historically, urban centers vote blue, Democratic now. Rural areas vote red, Republican. So they drew districts, so one would be blue, one would be red. Is that gerrymandering? Not necessarily. But if you do draw the lines to unfairly help your party or hurt the opposition, that is. Okay? So manipulating the boundaries of a district to help your party or hurt the other. Okay? Does Congress hire lobbyists so they can help them override the president's veto? That's a great question, Luna. I like that. Uh-oh. Am I buffering for you guys? Can you see me okay? I just got an error message on YouTube. Let me check my OBS real quick. All right, back to green. Okay, hopefully I'm better. Let's see, where was it? Oh, goodness. Does Congress hire lobbyists? No. Lobbyists are hired by outside firms to get Congress to propose and push bills. Okay? So, for example, I'm a teacher. We have an educational union that will hire lobbyists to go to Congress people and say, hey, pass this legislation that will help teachers. Okay? The lobbyists are the people that meet with the Congress people. Right? The Congress doesn't hire that. Okay? Lobbyists are hired by outside. Am I still buffering or am I okay? No data. I don't know. My OBS says I'm green, so hopefully I'm okay. Pulling about just under 3,000 kilobytes per second. Oh, let's see. Only 1% drop, so I think that's okay. Excellent connection. Should be good. All right. Luna, does that answer your question? Lobbyists are hired by outside firms to influence Congress. Okay? Let's see, Angelica. What if two people propose the same bill, but they're from different districts? That's fine. You can have co-sponsors, right? That's okay. Do you have to have a sponsor? Well, the sponsor is just the person that proposes the bill. So the answer is yes, you have to, because someone has to do it, right? This person sponsored first, just because that person proposes the bill. Yes, sit for 2 seconds. What is the Commerce Clause? Basically, it is the elastic clause saying that Congress can regulate trade between foreign nations, the states, and Indian tribes. That's what the Constitution says. And what that means is Congress will make its own rules as long as those rules allow them to regulate trade between foreign countries, several states, 50 now, or the Indian tribes. Okay? Let's see. What is power given to state government? Oh my goodness. Honestly, the easiest way would be go back and watch Crash Course Federalism, because he literally lists it out. Remember the James Bond joke? License to kill? That's not really a thing, but yeah, those are the reserved powers from the 10th Amendment. Okay? But if you want to know what they are explicitly, just Google Crash Course Federalism. Okay? Enumerated means spelled out. Okay? Like enumerate, numbered, like a bullet list. 1, this, 2, this, 3, this. Enumerate it. Okay? Alright. Looks like I got back to excellent connection. That's good. Alright, I wish I was still in civics. It's 200 times easier. But that's good. You're challenging yourself. Right? You're learning that life isn't easy and it's getting progressively harder. You are pushing yourself to be better, Zadiel. But do me a favor. Zadiel, since you're here, you had me for U.S. history, not for civics, but you are in high school now. What's easier, middle school or high school? Tell my kids that are watching this. Let me know. All right, guys, here's the deal. We're at about 41 minutes. It's 8:41. It's getting close to my bedtime. Not really, but I do have to work on a video for U.S. history. Christian, why does Congress need checks and balances? Why does Congress need checks and balances? The government needs checks and balances because we fought a war to get rid of a tyrannical king. Why would we want to replace him with a tyrannical government? Right? So, what do? We have 3 branches of government. We have separation of powers. Mr. Montesquieu, going to separate the powers, right? That way power is not centralized, so one branch does not become too powerful. And we have instituted checks and balances among the 3 so that they can keep watch over each other. Let's see. So no branch has more power. That's right. Your only problem is the memorizing. Which part? Ruby, what can I do to help you? What part are you struggling with? Is it like the requirements? 25 years for House, 30 years for Senate. 7 for House, 7 years as citizen for the House, 9 years as citizen for Senate. Help me out, Ruby. Point me in a direction. I'll help you as best I can. Okay? So a former student of mine, I know you're not in high school, but it's right, will tell you that middle school is easy. So please, please, please get into good habits now, guys. But you know what? You're showing those good habits because you're on the stream and you're watching it now. Okay? What is we can't memorize it? What is we can't memorize any of the questions? Well, don't memorize the questions. You know the material, and then you apply it. So what happens is you read the question. Okay? Test-taking strategies, right? You read the question. Reread the question. Figure out what it's actually asking for. Don't just jump right at your first thought. Pause. Take your time. You have 45 minutes for 22 questions. That's 2 minutes a question. Plenty of time, right? And it's multiple choice. Then, once you know what it's asking, go through the choices. Eliminate the 2 that you know are completely wrong, right? And then pick the best one that's left, right? Let's see. What is the census? Census is the count of the population. It is dictated by our Constitution. The population is to be counted every 10 years. Our next one is coming up next year in 2020. It's a population count. No, that's what I said. What is the job of the House? To impeach or convict? The House's job is to impeach. That's why when we watch the footage of the news, it's the impeachment inquiry, because the House is deciding whether or not they are going to vote to impeach. If they vote to impeach, then it moves over to the Senate, where they will hold a trial and then vote on whether or not to convict. So impeaching in the House, convicting in the Senate. All right, good job, Christian. Thank you for answering that. But with that being said, I'm going to say last call. Hey, Damiani, you made it. Last call. If you have any questions, put them out there now. Give me a minute, because I know there's a delay. Ask them now, because are there going to be things? I'm going to sign off because it's been 45 minutes. Are there level 3 questions? Actually, let me tell you how many there will be. Let's see. 2. That's one. Actually, looking at this test has to be pretty straightforward and easy. There's only one DOK3, it looks like. Let me make sure I can read them all. Yeah. So, Luna, this one of the really tricky ones. Okay? So, no stress. This will be an easy test. So, again, last call if you have any questions, because I need to sign off here so I can work on another video. All right? Alrighty, so giving you guys a second. Okay, you got this. You guys got this. You took the time out of your night to come in here and study. I know you put in the time to study. You talked to me. You asked me questions. I think you got this, guys. I hope this helped. We'll find out tomorrow, but I'm sure it will. How is the Speaker of the House chosen? Voted on by members of their party. Whoever controls the House of Representatives, the majority party, will vote on their members. Typically, it's the most senior member, but really it's the most respected member. They get to go out and be Speaker of the House. Why is the chairperson important? Because it's a sign of respect. It's a sign that you want that because your party gets your party chooses you, so you get to go out. Let's see. Yeah, you're chosen, right? You get to, run the meetings. You get to, dictate, the direction that committee goes in. But it's important because you're chosen. You're recognized, okay? Will there be easy questions? Oh, of course. I think they're all easy because you know it all, right? No, but I think what you're getting at is the depth of knowledge 1 questions. Yes, there will be a lot of DOK 1s. It's probably about half DOK 1, half DOK 2. Okay? So it's a pretty easy test. Actually, to answer your question, Luna, I do not. But you're the one that wrote it down. Don't you have it somewhere? I didn't take a picture of it this time because you wrote it on the board. I didn't actually take a picture of Mr. Santiago's board. So I do not know. Does anyone know the code for the Kahoot? If you do, drop it in the comments here. All right, Christian, you have a good night, okay? I'll see you in the morning. Get some rest. You'll do awesome on the test tomorrow. Good night, Zadiel. You take care, buddy. All right. So let's get off of here, guys. Get some rest. Get plenty of sleep. What does the minority leader... Oh, the minority leader, that's the person that is in charge of the party that's not in power. Right? So, unless it's something that's obviously good for the entire country, their job is to keep the party united. Like, for example, right now in something that's clearly drawn down political lines, we have the impeachment, right? Or the issue of impeaching. So what happens is, one party seems to be working towards this, and it's clearly divided, so it's easy to say this. The Democrat Party is for impeachment when they voted to start it, and then if the other party, obviously the Republican Party, doesn't want it, the minority leader's job is to keep everyone united or together, because he can't afford to lose anybody to the other side. Okay? Does that answer your question, Hannah? I hope so. All right. But we say we get out of here, guys. It is 8:49. It's a wonderful night. You guys get your rest. You're gonna do awesome. You put in the time. You put in the studying. You're going to rock this test tomorrow. Okay? So, I'm going to say goodnight. Goodbye. I will see you in the morning. And now, if you need the code for the Kahoot, it is in the chat. So if you're in here, you can see it. Beautiful. Thank you, Damiani. I appreciate that. Okay? So, with that, good night, everybody. I'll see you in the morning.